Welcome to the late sesh. As always, I'm Skilbo1 and joined by Red Setter Farm. What's happening, everybody? I hope everybody is able to get down and smoke with us, have some laughs. Red, do you got any topics for tonight, or are we just going to man our way through this shit?
I don't know, man. I think we're gonna man through this one tonight. That's yeah. What's going on, everybody? Scobo, how's your evening?
Good, man.
Sesh
I see we got High and Tight is first to pull into the chat. What's happening, brother?
My fingers are all sticky. I'm gonna have to pull up YouTube myself. Cheers, chat. What's going on, everybody?
Has everybody noticed?
Those tuning in.
Cheers, GP. I want everybody to notice that Red has the sweet ass fucking background. He tightened his stuff up. Dank agenda. Tim, how you doing? APK. See, yeah, man, that's cool.
Put a logo up for y'all.
Bindu, cheers. Motherland Gardens, how you doing tonight? Gabe.
I'm gonna find my way into YouTube here one of these days. I swear, chat. And for those of you who are in chat hanging out, please hit the top chat button up there and it'll scroll down and you can click live chat so you can follow along and hang out with us. It'll be a much more pleasurable experience for you all.
Just want to say what's up to M Hunter, to Lake. What's up, Normish? Dirty Quirty. Foxtail Farms, cheers. Trey Valone, cheers. What's going on? Birdwatcher. Dro in the house. Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to take my own advice with that whole live chat thing. And
I haven't made the switch yet myself.
Hit that like button if you enjoy the show. Sorry, Scobo, for cutting you off there, brother.
Not at all. Lag. So I am starting off by, what am I smoking right now? I believe.
What are you smoking, Scobo?
I think this is the skunk. Yeah, I think this is the skunk. I got a whole plan. I'm going to roll up a big bomb here and make sure it's a good one. Cheers, Modern Genetics.
I think I got it up now, chat. What's going on? You got him? I think I got chat up now, Scobo.
Or I should say,
man. See High and Tight, what's going on? Motherland Gardens, Dank Agenda. Tara Wilson, what's happening? Groskis in the house.
Cheers, Tara.
Yeah, Scobo, it's been a nice one today, man. Good hot weather. Sun shining all day down here where I'm at.
Perfect.
How about you? Bro?
Perfect weather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's hanging out in the back deck and smoking a bunch, chilling out, listening to the birds, a little bit of music going.
I got a local cardinal in the yard. My neighbors. I was watching it. We have a couple bird feeders in our yard, so I don't know, I'm gonna call it a she for right now because maybe she's taking care of a nest, but she was flying into our yard, grabbing sunflower seed and flying back over the fence, repetitively about every 2 minutes. It was pretty fun to watch.
See, we got
definitely got a little nest in there.
Speaking
of bird watchers,
bird watchers right here, man.
Cheers.
So I had a good day, man. I started off and I went to the grocery store, and it was kind of nice because I got to see two of my friends I don't normally see. So I want to give a shout out to KB Dankness and to Mets in the Country, both solid dudes. And went through and picked up some different stuff for the garden today, a little bit of organic stuff, some bokashi. What the hell else did I get? I bought some neem oil, but it was for the roses. I caught shit. I threw the receipt up in the chat, and they were like, neem oil. So I had to buy it because I didn't have it. Yeah, it's just the roses. Oh, they were looking so good earlier this year, man, and like some shit got at them, and so it's all good.
As they say.
Cheers, Aldridge. How you doing out there?
Roses.
Maybe it was the roses.
Oh, do you have to do anything with that bokashi, or is it ready to go, ready to roll?
I think it's ready to go. Yeah.
Is it a dry amendment? Do you add water? Or?
No, just scratch it in and be good to go.
Sprinkle it on there. Mm-hmm. Never used any of that.
I picked up some of that. I got some BioLive, and then since we were talking about it at the shop, I ended up grabbing some more Azos again. I love using Azos when I do transplants into other pots. It's just it seems like as soon as it hits that, when you make that root contact with that, it just shoots right through the pot and really makes it happy. What's up, Bindu? How you doing? Jason, cheers. I might have missed somebody. I'm not sure yet, but we have 34 people chilling with us so far, starting early.
So I'm slowly rolling here, but got some Rainbow Driver. Oh, now that it's not green anymore, you can sort of see it.
Hey,
Hey. So
dude, I
yeah,
wish I was
sprinkling
smoking
in
that
there,
shit
buddy.
right now.
It's a little bit of Rainbow Driver. I'll have to get
Yeah,
you a little
man.
stash there on Sunday. Make
See,
sure you
Dirty
go
knows
home with
what's up. Yeah, for
couple
sure.
pre rolls of this stuff here, Scobo.
That's it. That's my birthday
Pre
gift present,
more
man.
wake and bakes.
Oh,
It's been a
oh, I
good
can't
daytime.
imagine that.
Good
If
time
I had that for the
screening.
Waker, shh.
Dude, it's great.
Yeah, that BioLive is good stuff out there. And, I try not to add too much to the beds, but I do like to, make sure that I am not starving the shit in there at the same time. Does anyone use any PGRs? I haven't, but I've been doing my research. Asked Mother Gardens. What's up, man? Wadi, how you doing tonight?
I was talking to my friend about some uh some cannabis that we swapped a while back. He didn't actually grow it. They were testing some products, and maybe it was some buddies of his, I think, that were testing some products. But we swapped some, like an ounce or two or something like that, and we were talking about how this stuff smoked, and they the bag appeal of it. I'll start with that. Got three different strains, I think, and all three strains were very much on the, I don't want to say like the popcorn end, but they were dense, hard, marble like buds. Yeah, like round in structure for the most part.
I know
Really,
where we're
really
going with
dense.
this. Yeah.
Incredibly dense, man. Uh, get to the smoke effect. It broke down okay, I suppose. It was kind of like dusty, I suppose. Like kind of broke down into dust, and not dust, but like it just broke down really like coffee grounds. Let's say
Yeah,
that
I
broke
got
down
you.
like coffee grounds, right? And then from there, it rolled up okay. It packed into the joint well. It wasn't like clay or anything like that. Normal moisture content. Let's say it was more on the dry side, so you wouldn't really expect it to throw really really dark ash or anything like that. But this threw a, not just like a dark ash, but it was like a crispy solid ash. I mean, I let it burn, and like the ash
Oof.
just kind of kept
Yeah.
burning back, burning back, burning back. And it was
And it's like a charcoal piece at the
charcoal.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And come to find out, we were talking about some of maybe the products they were using. I don't know if it was hard candy or one of those. We said there was like some PGRs and things used in that round, and I was, wow. And that's kind of what I had thought of. You right? And that was like my main thought was, this is an additive. There's something else going on with this. This isn't regular nutrition, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel you. I want to say shout out to Spartan Grown. I know he is up late tonight to hang with us. I know it's almost his bedtime. Cheers, brother. Because I love it. How you doing tonight? See if there's anybody else.
Fire in the hole, guys.
Fire in the hole. Beardman Farms. Cheers. Kazoo. And who's here? Daddy Red.
Hey, Daddy Red, what's going on? I finally
Okay.
took a nice little trip with a grape ape plant riding shotgun, and got it down there to Daddy Red,
Oh,
and
nice.
Daddy Red, Mama Red, kind of collectively for both of them have their kind of first little patio plant. And it's kind of like it's a milestone for me, because I've always wanted a
Well,
plant
sure.
to be in their backyard. You know, not just like hidden off into the corner and nobody's gonna see. They actually know that it's back there this time, right? So
Right.
that's kind of cool, and willingly. So wishing for success on that. Really cool. And I'm not gonna nitpick on how they grow it. I'm gonna let them grow it just fine, and however they want to do it. So I
It's
hope for
nice to put
success.
their genetics in there, though. You know what I mean? Like, that it's something that hasn't been treated with anything weird, that they're going to grow
Yeah,
out and
I know it'll
easy
be
keeper.
something. I know that it's going to be something for their style of backyard, right? They don't necessarily have like privacy fences or anything
Did you have the
that
talk with them, Red?
What's that? Which
Did you have
one?
the cannabis talk with your
Oh, there's
parents?
so many. I've had so many cannabis talks. I've gotten the cannabis talk. They've gotten the cannabis talk.
Everybody gets the talk.
We all get the talk. The I think the best part about it is that it's a plant that is gonna stay nice and short. It doesn't take a lot of maintenance. The most that it takes is you need to give it a little pruning because it likes to get thick with the foliage. But other than that, I mean, it's a great little short plant. It goes purple. It doesn't stink up the neighborhood like skunk. It smells kind of fruity, and yeah, it's just an overall great beginner's plant. It's one of the plants I learned how to grow with. And so yeah, definitely. What's going on out there, everybody? Cheers. Here on Cannabis Consultant, Dirty Qwerty, GB Farms. What's going on, everybody? High and tight. Skilbo may or may not have stepped away for a second. I'm not sure. But
Skilbo is
oh, there
back
he
in the
is.
house. I had
Skilbo's
to.
back in the house.
Yes, it is my birthday today. So, cheers to me.
I almost forgot, Skilbo. Happy birthday. Chat, ready? On the count of three,
No, we
we're all
ain't
going to
doing
wish
all
Skilbo a wonderful happy birthday, and you're on a lag, so it's not going to work out the way we wanted to. So, anyway,
that.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Skilbo.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
everybody. Cheers, Skilbo.
Yeah, man.
Shout him out. Give him some love, chat. Cannabis World.
I have been going at it especially hard today. So, yeah, I'm kind of a little bit stoned. So I figured what better
Good,
way to
man.
try to get myself right for a show here than to grind up a little bit of sour melon and dig in. So earlier this evening,
Well, it's a hell of a trip, man. You went all the way around the sun.
and man, it's another lab.
It's a hell of a trip.
A little tease is that Sequence and I recorded a podcast with Yeti Stash, a Michigan Concentrate and Hasher guy. So it's definitely going to be sweet. You guys are awesome in chat, man. You guys really are. Thanks,
Look at
Campfire.
all that love, Scobo.
I know, man. That's
They're coming
awesome.
out of the woodwork for you, buddy.
You know,
Thanks for that
that's
chat.
that's like the best thing about this is all of the cool ass people that I've met along the way. And I know that everybody says that. They're like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But honestly, it's so great to be able to have so many awesome people to talk with and share information with and learn from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just I try to be like really grateful and to never ever take anything or anyone for granted. Nobody owes you shit out there. You know what I'm saying? So all the love that you guys show me and all that, thank you. And with that, I'm gonna twist up a bomb ass joint. And by twist up, I mean use a big ass roller. So I am getting a little bit older, a little bit wiser too, man.
Distinguished, Scobo. You've
Yeah.
become distinguished.
If I had hair still, I would have the George Clooney, the frosted sides for dignity. Ooh, I can even be bougie and use a tip. Let's see.
So, is there anything? How have you grown? How have you changed yourself in the past year?
In the
What have you
past
done?
year, in the past year, what I've noticed the most is that people that I had, hey, what's up, Dab Smith? Share, bro. Duro dude, how you doing tonight? Uh, is all of the great people that I've been able to learn from and talk to in the last year is what's made me a better grower. I'm at a point now where I don't want to jinx myself, obviously, but the beds are working the way they're supposed to. Um, I have put some money into the garden this year, so I've upgraded my lights. Still in the process of updating my watering system to automate with blue mats. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to wait on a few extra supplies. I wanted to put a couple extra carrots in the bed because it is a 4x8, and the one that I got uses a combination of two carrots. So you put basically one on each end, and then you have the dripper lines that go in between. So there'd be like four of those off of a manifold to do a 4x8 bed. So yeah, it's been a good one. What else I've learned? I've learned that we take some shit way too serious that we don't need to. And learn to lighten up a little bit and laugh a little bit more. But at the same time, you can't always be fucking off. You got to be about your business, whether that's in the grow or in whatever it is that you grind and do. So that's my little old man things. You just stay true to yourself, man. I wish I had bigger papers, but we'll see. What's this going to look like?
Yeah, man. I could use to take some of that advice for sure, Scobo. I'm sure there's some things I could ease back the angst on, if you will. You know, lessen the amount of
You know,
urgency, I suppose, in some things, and of course, there's some more things. There's some other things I should probably prioritize a little further.
Campfire Occasion is asking me if I'm using the short or the longs. And what I'll say is that I have the kit that it came with a 5 inch and a 9 inch carrot. I also ended up and bought two extra 9 inch carrots to basically do the northeast, southwest in the bed. And I pulled the trigger, and because I'm not as familiar with blue mats as maybe somebody else, I did spend the $75 and bought the digital moisture meter that they make as well. So there is that. It seems like it's going to be pretty easy, man.
You're doing that all gravity fed, right? All
Yeah,
gravity.
yeah. So they say that to have enough water pressure in it, if you're not going to have it hooked to like a water source, which I'm not, is to make sure that it is well, basically 6 to 10 feet above the top water level to the bed level where it's irrigating. All right.
Cheers, Red Eye Rustler. What's going on? Head case, Dr. Dankenstein. What's happening, everybody? Normish, Jason Eyestone. What's going on? Skipper, I don't know how deep we want to go into this. I was just thinking the other day. I was like, man, I built these grow rooms, and I loved embracing like the process of it. It's fun. The journey. And then the journey's not quite over. I'm still doing a lot of building, but life is what happens while you're busy making other plans, right? So, during the trying to get to the end result, we have this great journey. And I was thinking maybe we could talk about like let's like build a grow room. You want to build a grow room right here
Sure.
real quick in the next
Let's
like
do it.
hour?
Sure.
Let's
First
start
question.
with like
So, first question is it going to be a separate building or is it going to be residential?
let's say uh let's say we got access to a separate building. Let's say we're not living there. Let's say it's Michigan, we're legal, but we like discretion and we don't want anybody knowing that we're growing there.
So it's
Uh
not on site. It's not like in an outbuilding, like a 12 by 12 shed or
Yeah, and
something
we'll
like
say
that.
we're in Michigan, where we're legal and we're allowed to have 12 plants, but we'll make this compatible for just about anybody and say we don't want anybody to know we're growing there. But yeah, well, let's say we got a nice little we got like a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12. In my neighborhood, if you have a 10 by 10 shed that's not considered taxable and you don't have to have a foundation or anything, we could go something like that. We could go something a little bit bigger and say you're gonna put in a couple of rooms and have a veg. I
Okay.
suppose we can get squirrely with it. Um,
I
I
would say
guess
the
in,
first thing is what's my budget and what am I going to use as lighting, and one is contingent upon the other.
I
If
think we're
if
going
cost
to
is no initiative,
let's say we do have a cap on cost, but budget's moderate. We have a moderate budget to deal with to work with. We can get we don't have to throw brands or anything out there if we want to, but let's say mid range just about everything, right? We can
right?
afford mid range. We can afford where are we going to put the most of our
Where are we going to
expenses
put our?
at?
You're right. So
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
and for you, I believe there's two. Thanks, Jason. One of the things is that we have to do is we have to figure out where we're going to be able to scrimp and where we don't want to. So for our environmental controls, we probably don't want to scrimp on that because if we cheap out on it, we may be running into some real issues later on, whether it be powdery mildew or heat stress or something like that. Um, I think and at the same time, lighting. Don't be Skillbo. Skillbo grew with really antiquated gear, and it was good enough for me for years. But it definitely made me work a lot harder to get even less than I'm going to get right now off of switching over to a more modern LED lighting. So Like I'm just blown away, dude. I walk in there and I'm like, this doesn't even look like my fucking grow, man.
And you upgraded to what? HLG lighting?
I no,
Is
I
that
did the
correct?
knockoff Alibaba
Oh,
240
okay.
watt quantum
Okay.
boards. They
Okay.
are 240 watts and 660 nanometers, and I bought them in the 3K. Thank you, Michigan Microhard. Oh, see,
Those
Yeti
are
Stash is here. What's up, man? I was telling him that we did a show earlier and kind of teased that a little bit with him. Real super nice dude, man.
oh sweet. What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm excited to check that out. That'll be a good one. Now, is that going to drop on a podcast day, like a Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon type thing?
That's what it always was before. So I'm
Monday
thinking it will
afternoons.
be again. It's a nice
Very good.
hour long show. So get you
You
for
know,
your commute.
that was a great way to it is a great way to start my week whenever whenever there's a good Michigan Bros Grow Show podcast on the Monday morning. Man, what time that thing would drop at like 11 or 12 o'clock? I remember
Depends.
having it
Yeah.
right. Was it right and early? It's great. I'm excited for that. Very awesome. I would put a good chunk of my budget into insulation. Um,
Well, it's cheaper in the
you
long
know,
run, isn't it?
yeah, and this is something that we don't really need to worry about anymore. But let's say you like discretion and you have incredibly nosy neighbors. Something I like to use to help with sun, the UV rays that can kind of penetrate through the exterior walls of your building, right? They might not be able to get through brick, but they might get through tin. They might get through, I don't know, sheeting or whatever you have out there. If you use like a UV barrier, I'm sorry, infrared barrier, IR barrier, you can totally cut down a ton of heat, direct sun heat that you're going to get from early in the morning, late in the evening, midday when it's directly above you. Um, so if you can do, I don't know, your attic with that, it's going to greatly reduce the amount of heat that your house is going to hold in the summertime. It's just going to overall just you know lower your cooling costs and things like that.
Right. Your operating
Um,
cost is going to be less for that for sure.
yeah, and your lights aren't gonna be overloaded with heat, things like that. You might get longevity out of a lot more of your equipment and things like that. So, cooler temperatures in the long run just help everything. Um,
Good point. Cheers.
so
Thank
I
you,
would
Jen.
put I would put
Cheers,
a good
Four Tub
chunk into
guy.
insulation. And maybe if you are for reasons of discretion, maybe the IR barrier will help with a nosy neighbor with a heat sink or something,
I think
might
it's
be
hard because it's like you people will say, wow, now that it's legal, I'd really like to start my own grow. And you start trying to explain to them, you're like, oh, dude, you could just do it so cheap. You can get by for, and whatever low ball number that you shoot somebody, sure, they can probably scrape by and do it for that, but it's not a cheap hobby. And I think that it would be a shame for us to shoot our load, so to say, on just one or two things like that. And then when it comes time for genetics, if we don't know anybody, we have to source our own seeds and stuff. They can get really expensive for some. But you have to take all those things into consideration and say, well, okay, if I just start with one pack of beans, just starting off, and he says, okay, build your ideal garage, 2 4x4 rooms. Yeah. Well, here's the big one first: is what are you going to do? Are you going to use like an automated system? Are you going to have like Reds, the cocoa? Are you going to try to do beds like I have? Are you going to do some kind of system like Spartan grown and abolished where you have a SIPs? Are you going to do good old fashioned 5 gallon pots with ProMix? I mean, they all work. It's a matter of, I don't know.
so if I had a smaller garden, like if we're gonna do a 10 by 10, I like that idea of doing like two 4 by 4, rooms, and I like doing that because let's say you only have, let's say we're using a residential panel, we got a 100 amp service or something. A majority of the panels used for washer, dryer, refrigerator, that kind of stuff. The other portion of the panel, well, I guess we were talking about having our own outbuilding, but yeah, it's an outbuilding. It's in the backyard. We're still on a 100 amp service. Okay. So we only got like, I don't know, 30 amps to work with or something like that.
Right.
Um, that could that could be an issue with a lot of things, right? Air conditioner kicking on at the same time lights are on, that's eating up a lot of those amps. So what I like to do is have two separate bloom spaces occupying the entire 24 hours of the day, running, less than 12 hours. I run like 11 hours and 45
Oh, you're
minutes,
saying like flipping
you
the
know,
cycle so that you're never
flipping your
overloading the
cycle.
panel. Yeah.
Right. So you have
Cheers,
like two
Dolly.
separate
Cheers,
spaces,
Jack. How you guys
separate
doing
four
up
by
there?
fours. Sorry, go ahead, man. You can do some shout outs. Go,
I
bud.
was gonna just give a shout out to Dalai Lama and to Jack Greenstock. Cheers! I mentioned him on the podcast earlier that we recorded. Give him a little tease there. Um, see, he's Barton knows too. But going back to that,
Yeah, in this way,
Trey
you would
said to
basically.
basically buy an AC, a light, some Panda film, a staple gun, and build off of that. Skillbo started off with a 400 watt, um, a what was it? It's like a 400 watt off-brand digital ballast, and it had a chill tube on it. And I did not have a fan. It had a PC fan hooked up in line at the end of the chill tube, and it blew through. I bought it as a used thing from grower for $100 bill, and that's what got me started to grow my own back in 2012. So we sometimes, even though I can sit here and I can go, man, look how far I've come, and you just sort of, again, you're taking that for granted, and you know what I'm saying, Red?
Well, trains pulling through the station. Got a little loud in here. Sorry. I don't even know if you can hear that white. It's probably just not even static or white noise for you. It's coming through a lot louder with me, but then it goes through the mixer and gets canceled out. So I don't know. I'm just blabbling anyways. So either way, um, yeah, it is. It's to like think back. I mean, what gymnasium light, and then I did like a little like three lighter that was I was using 600-watt magnetic ballast. Um, and now I'm using double-ended HPS. Well, and then I went single-ended HPS, 1,000-watt digital, controllable, and then I went to 1,000-watt double-ended HPS, and I'm hopefully going to what I don't know 660, 670 fluence in the future. Or something similar is what I'd eventually like to get to. We'll,
If
we'll see.
if you
I
grow
think that
long
if I
enough,
was,
if you
go
grow
ahead.
long enough,
Sorry.
everybody ends up with a whole fucking shed full of cannabis accoutrements that you don't use anymore. Old tech, something that you jumped the gun on and bought, and it was like, oh, this is going to be the answer to all my prayers, and it ends up on top of the heap with all the other shit that didn't pan out.
I still
Uh,
have a ton of old like CFL bulbs, like little squirrely bulbs. You know what I'm talking about? They're
what
just
are you
like
ever going to do with those, bro?
nothing. Well, they're good light bulbs, but I'd rather use
Right,
LED in the house. But you know what? Like a bulb goes out, they're backup bulbs.
right.
They're not bad bulbs, so I don't want to like take them and just go recycle them. But I fuck man, they're kind of dangerous leaving around. They fall off the shelf, you get mercury everywhere, things like that. But maybe one of these days I'll just toss them. But they're not bad for like veggie starts and things like that. So I still kind of keep them around for whatever because I got the old blue, what I don't even know what uh, spectrum that they were on the box, man. Whatever blue, but you get the bright white and the soft white.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
white for veg and soft white for flower. Grow a
yeah.
couple little plants in your attic with those
I mean, if you can,
cheap
I've always
CFL
said
bulbs.
if you can grow your own, if you have the ability to do it and not get in too much fucking trouble for it, uh, I really think you should. You know, it's I don't know. Some people aren't about that, but you'd be surprised once you start taking care of it and growing your own smoke. It's very very rewarding to truly be single source like that. Now the
I
thing
mean, if you
is
got a
there's so much
couple,
planning though that goes into it. You have to plan 6 months. I was watching another show, Future Cannabis. That dude, that's been great. Those live streams that they've had on there. Remember, I tipped you to it the other night when Kevin Jodrey and all those cats were on there. Awesome. But you plan ahead and you know basically as a grower what you're going to be doing. So you have that SOP that says this is when I should be cutting clones. This is when I should be doing this. This is when I should be doing that. This is when this maintenance is due. This is when this is due to be changed out if you're using HPS bulbs, and you want to switch all that shit out. Just don't neglect your garden, or your garden is going to end up neglecting you in the long run.
I moved back home to my parents' house in my mid 20s. It was I had already grown my first plant with the gymnasium light, and I had the bug. I had the itch really bad. I just wanted to grow something. And when I moved back home to my parents' house, I kind of built. I didn't really have money for like a grow tent. I didn't want to like throw a grow tent in their house or anything. Tents were really a thing. Like they didn't even really exist. This was 2000 and I don't know 2008 ish. The commercials for grow your own pot of tomatoes was like just coming on the commercials, right? So this was like very early on.
The
So
hanging
I did
gardens.
I built a little like furring strip box for 6-sided cube basically, and then I lined it in cardboard, popped some holes in it. I don't even think it had an exhaust or anything, but just cardboard doors, the whole nine. Painted the inside white. Maybe I used tinfoil on the inside or something like that, and had ceramic metal halide. No, not ceramic metal. What am I talking about? CFL, ceramic fluorescent uh, swirly bulbs. Had those wrapped up in there, and I just started growing vegetables like crazy, you know. And I don't know, that was at least 10 years ago or something like that. But I just had the itch, man. Grew a bunch of tomato plants and a bunch of pepper plants, and
Well, we
you
have
know,
a question in chat, and that is that Keizu was asking if we could walk them through a perpetual setup. So, do you want to tackle that, or do you want me to?
let's keep it simple. We're like kind of what we're talking about. Where
Okay. So here's the thing:
with my
we got
setup, I
we
got
got
two
12 plants, right? We got
I got
12
12
plants to play
plants.
with.
I got
So,
two rooms with two 4x4s.
how many genetics do you really think that you can keep? First of all, if you're going to try to keep it in perpetuity and it is a
Man,
perpetual, you
talk for a
can have
second.
no,
Maybe I'll sit here and do some math.
you can't have any more than 6 genetics that you're running, and that would be one is being cut as a clone off of a plant that's being pushed into flower. So you've got the backup in reserve that's under the veg lights. Then you have the plant that you cut it
How many
from.
genetics do you want? I think that's more of a question of like, because then you could
I
depend.
think 6 is too
Then it would
many.
dictate how many. Oh, it's way too many if we're only with like
I
a
think
12 plant
three
count. We got
as
two
as like a
lights,
beginner. I think
two
2 or 3
rooms.
is more than I would want to be biting off. Once you dial it in and you get to the point where you can get 2 or 3 plants going, two types.
Let's say we have a wake and bake and we have a good night. We have a late sesh. We have mid, a sativa and an indica or something. We got two. We got two different moms. We hold them as moms. Let's say we hold them as moms. You don't have to. I suppose you don't have to. You only have two strains. No,
Yeah, 3 you
don't hold
could.
moms. Yeah, you could. I wouldn't hold a mom though. But
No,
the plant count's only
I've
two.
never done it, man. I've never
You got
fucking
two
done that.
strains. Don't hold a
No,
mom. I
I'm
would
not knocking them. I understand why
perpetually
people do
clone.
it.
Um, so what I would do is I would load each room. How many plants would we do in each room? I'm a 4 plant to a 4x4 type of grower. You get big plant on a 4x4. You get a 2x2 by as tall as you want. Uh,
3 is the magic number, Red, for
you like
12.
three on a
3.
4x4?
Well,
Yeah,
oh, you're
because
saying
you
how
would
many
get
you can
three
put in a four
on.
by four? Depends on
Well, if
what
we're
you're doing.
doing,
If you,
well, we're rocking a perpetual, right? So you do 1 30 day. You do them. You load up each light like 30 days apart, and then you're doing a harvest every 30 days or 32 days or whatever you want.
and it depends if
33.
we're growing in the beds, and that's what I was doing in the very beginning when I started the beds. Was I would pull one plant out and I would plant another one in its place, but I never actually had the room on a cycle, and it was a bitch because I would have these big monstrous GG4s that would be taking up 3 feet by 3 feet
Yeah, in
of a
my
four
case, I
foot
can't do
scrog.
that
Yeah,
because I would have to have like I could say yeah. I mean, at that rate, we could do 3 plants in each tray, and under each light you did 3 plants, and then you're doing a plant every 11 days or something like that. You could totally do that. But then in my scenario, I'm not water only, I'm doing synthetic, so there'd have to be some type of a flush cycle, so I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to do a tray at a time if I was going to do synthetic. If I was going to do a no-till situation, and I was just, I don't know, because are you amending your no-till, are you know what I mean, are you doing all
right.
these different, so I think that I would keep The time, the lifeline, I would keep the lifeline of the plant the same under an individual space, on the same reservoir, um in the same bed, you know, because if you're amending on a single space, I would keep all, let's say you have from one plant to two plants to 24 plants all in one, sharing the same, rhizome or whatever you want to call it. I would keep that all the same lifeline, lifetime span, if
Well,
you will.
there's something else to think about is, we were spending our money and we had to buy lighting. So let's say that we really went all out on the flower lighting and we really cheaped out on our veg lighting. The problem was going to be, as a perpetual grower, you need plants to be a certain size typically to be able to take its place in the flowering
You're
spot.
talking about my current situation,
Right.
actually.
So if you are underpowering your veg, you're really fucking yourself in the long run because it's not going to fill in the life footprint that you're going to push them into when you get to flower. So I, I sometimes I try to think of like, you know what, growing the plant's really easy. Once you flip it to flower, just get out of the way and let it die. That's not true at all, but it sounds like it's kind of cool or could be, but it's not. And you don't realize how much shit that you know about this until you have to try to explain it to somebody else. You're like, well, there's this and there's that, and there's also this, the other thing. And it's like, damn, man.
I think I got the math kind of figured out in my head. If you had two trays flip flopping using day and night cycles, 12 hours a day. In my case, I do 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So one room is on 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the other room's off, and then they flip flop come the opposite times of the day. That saves load on the circuit panel, and that also saves heat in the overall system, right? If I wanted to, I could probably heat both systems with the same air conditioner or something and figure out a lung room. Could probably even do the same with CO2. Let's add on a mushroom room for CO2 or something like that. Excuse me. There's a million options we could do for this small garage or shed grow or whatever we do. But let's not get too far down the rabbit hole. We're still talking about the simple part, which is um what was I talking about?
If you ever
Shoot,
want to trip
Scribble.
up two stoners, all you have to do is say, let's build a grow room.
Let's build a
And we'll
grow
get
room.
fucking
What are we
derailed real
talking about?
quick.
So I was getting to the point of no turn.
Of a baby come back?
No, I don't know if it was chat. Oh, that's what it was. The numbers. Fuck, dude. I saw it. There it was. So okay. So if we put 3 plants under each light, let's use LED lights, man. We're in the future. We're using LED lights in each of these 4x4, well, 5x5, 5x5 spaces. You have a 5x5 during the day. You have a 5x5 running at nighttime. These are flower zones. We have a 5x5 for veg, whatever. Let's 3x3 for veg, whatever we have. So we have 6 plants that are always in veg. We have 6 plants that are always in flower. That equals 12. We have 3 plants under each light, okay, that harvest 30 days apart. So you're loading 3 plants into each tray every 30 days, and you're taking clones 3 cuts every 30 days off of one, and then 30 days later the other. 30 days gives those, we're not keeping mothers. 30 days, what you're going to do is you're probably going to take that cut. We're going to 30-day growth cycle too of veg, which is a lot of time. I mean, that's a solid 4 weeks the plants are going to get. Probably bigger than this. So you're going to be able to take cuts and at, let's say, 3 weeks, and then that last week they're going to get a chance to split and do their little bit of stretching, and then you're going to flower them. So you're
How
going
do
to
you
grow
feel
them for three
about
weeks,
pinching
and then you're going
and
to top them,
training and things like that in
keep
veg?
those clones. Pitching and training and veg always. But I mean, during this scenario, you might be limited on it because you're pulling clones off of these plants. They're not really treating them as veg plants. You're kind of treating them as mothers, if you
Right.
will. You know what I mean? So your training techniques might need to be accommodating. Um, I'm not a big bender, man. Excuse me.
Think Agenda's got it all figured
I'm a
out.
topper.
Says take that initial budget and finance the whole thing. Leverage your buy in and amortize the purchase cost on the first harvest. You stay liquid for fire seeds and are also able to make moves. That's the move. What's up, Mr. Swerve?
I agree with all of that, and it all looks great on paper.
See, Trey's down with us with the pinch and bend too.
It
I've
all looks
just
great on
always done it.
paper.
I know that it does slow the plant down some, but I've never minded on a longer veg cycle. Sometimes I double veg things. So, I'm just my own dude. So I'm never in like a big foot race. I just try to make sure that I fill my space. And I've also been one to go back through and to hard top a plant if it's like running away from me in veg. And I know I'm like, dude, this is just going to be a pain in the fucking ass. I'm just going to go ahead and whack top 6 or 8 inches off of it and make that a clone. And then, let's start retraining the plant to bush out from that point again.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm talking about doing. And I mean, gosh, in 30 days, you're gonna get a lot of growth. In my case, when I'm doing synthetically, let's say I'm stepping up my veg lights, I haven't even got into that yet. I pulled the trigger and I got a couple new Fluence RAZR. I don't know if there's a name to that, if it's just an acronym or what it is, but Razor or whatever,
Right.
RAZR X, I think it is. Um, I got a few of those for veg, and what's nice is that they're made for vertical stacking. They're made for like commercial shelving units and things like that. So they have these cantilever, however you want to say it, arms that kind of attach the light and hold it into place, so you don't have to like hang it and chain it. It's not
Right.
moving around. It's not rattling, doing anything. It's fixed in place, attached to the verticals of your shelves. So I got a couple of those, 110 volt. I want to say that they're only like 300 watts or something like that a piece, something like that. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure all their the entire spectrum. A bunch of research I did a long time ago. I've just finally been able to make the move. I wanted to get those lights for a really long time so I can step up my veg, because I'm still vegging under T5 and my bulbs are really old.
And it
I'm like,
runs
well,
hot.
yeah, but I'm like, do I want to spend, 200-300 bucks on bulbs, or do I want to get a new light? You know what I mean? I want to get a new light. So I've been kind of neglecting changing my bulbs, and my plants are just creeping along, man. I'm down to like 50 watts on a 2x4. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
bro, that's
And
never going to
then
get it done.
as dim as they are, I'm probably down to like 15 watts on a 2x4. Yeah,
Red's
dude.
in
I
there
mean, I'm
flickering and buzzing.
yeah, dude. You know how it goes. So it's time to upgrade Scobo. So yeah, so that's what we're doing in this show tonight. We're upgrading.
Building
I'm upgrading
this
Scobo.
mythical perpetual grow is what
Yeah,
we're
this
doing.
mythical. But I think if you did a 3 plant cycle, I think you could have a 30-day crop running a pre-plant perpetual.
Mhm.
Someone stop me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'm doing this without paper. I'm doing this without anything. It's all
Well, a lot
word.
of it
So
comes down to what you are flowering out and how many weeks, and not what how many weeks it says on
oh
the
yeah,
back, but how
genetics
many
plays
weeks
such a huge.
that you are doing it.
You aren't
Like
doing a
any
bunch of
any
90-day
strain can be
strains.
any strain can be a fucking 7 week strain if you just kick in the ass out the door, but that's not allowing the plant to really ripen
Yeah, totally.
and mature and stuff like that. So there's a lot of talk obviously about GMO. A lot
A
of
lot
us
of
are running
noises, guys. I'm
GMO
sorry.
or GMO crosses. So, you start talking about, 70, 77, possibly even more than that, 80 days. So that can really change up and create a log jam in your veg if you're not prepared for it. It's hard
Yeah, I
sometimes.
agree,
I've
man.
stopped talking and I've start reading chat and then I realize, oh, wait,
Yeah, and I the
yeah.
only reason I didn't jump in. So yeah, sorry about that dead air. I'm trying to light this. I'm trying not to flick this thing too many times. It's not a regular Bic, so it doesn't slide out easy. It's one of these fancy little funky lighters. It's got all these, fun little party disco colors going on. But every time
you're,
I light it, it clicks and it's really loud, and I'm sure it's driving you guys nuts. So
you're
I'm
good,
trying to
bro.
remove it when it's muted.
You're good. Cheers, Narwhal.
Not over discuss that situation.
Red disappeared there. I'm still not used to that being a virtual background. That is not the actual tapestry. That is the photo. Did you see him blip out on us? It's like
Hey,
fucking. Does anybody ever remember from the '70s? There used to be the
hey.
Super Friends. Used to be that dude Nexoplick, and he would like. Boop, he would always mess with Superman. You used to have to
You
make
know,
him
shout
get him
out
to say his
to.
name backwards to go away.
I would
Flipple
be
slip.
awesome if I could remember this, and I'm actually I feel really bad that I can't remember who was talking about it in chat last night. I should have wrote him down so I could give him a proper shout out. So my apologies on that. I'll have to go back and rewatch. But shout out to you guys who were talking about it. You know who you are. They said that I'm not really myself without the tapestry because I had the scrognet and everything in the background. I was like, I might have to do something, but I wanted to get the I got the wrong side. Oh, still did it wrong. Ah, there it is. The logo and the funny stuff up there. Scribble's got the fancy moon back there. I dig it.
Yeah, man.
Production value, right?
Got to try to make it look a certain way. Cheers,
The
everybody out
lighting's
there.
actually a lot better. I
We
took the
have
photo during the daytime.
we have 74 people chilling with us, and we are approaching 14 minutes until hash time. If anybody wants to join us, that is what we have started as our little tradition here at the halfway point of the show. And I think I still have some of that old man Herman hash from yesterday that I had echo located somewhere here in the layer. I just have to find it.
I think I'm gonna find time this week and make hash. It's just gonna be fun. I'm gonna do. I, I think I'm gonna do some water hash. I
Dude, I
I
can
think
even
of what
call
I'm gonna
for
do
that.
is I'm gonna dry sift and then I'm gonna water hash off of that. After I dry sift, and
Okay.
then I'm going to make Fico. What was the phrase? Spartan Grown. If you're still in
FSO,
chat, FSO.
FSO.
There it is. FSO. I'm gonna make some FSO. I like that term a little bit better. Also,
I have a series of different red setters that I could choose from here.
no, I have a little alcohol stash making its way to me soon.
It's the three stages of red here. I
Oh,
got
there you
those
go.
two
Very nice.
dogs. I got this glass dog.
Oh yeah,
This is the dementia. Ooh, that
that's
was the one
the
that fucking ripped me up last time.
that's the dimension in the glass. I keep thinking it was the Glee.
Glee is in glass too, but I have.
Glee's in
Ooh, I
glass
said that
also.
without messing it up. There it is. This is the old man. You haven't seen one of these in a hot minute, have you? The little glass
Mm,
boys.
very nice. I never actually got any of that from him, and I
What?
should have. Yeah, man,
Oh,
I should have. I'm a little bummed out about it
Narwhal, I
now.
told you that Blueberry Widow was not to be trifled with, man. Oh, you know what? I don't think there's enough in here to. Well,
Yeah, I really need to run an extract on some Rainbow Driver. I need
yes,
to
you
get some
do.
Rainbow Driver dry sift going. I think I've talked about the Great Glee dry sift. Well, you have some.
I have
You know
some.
how it is. It's kind of like play sand, if you will. Similar. I compare it slightly to like a hazy type of sift, but you know what? It doesn't hit me like a haze. It puts me on my ass. I don't know about you. It makes me go to sleep. I'm not smoking that right now, but it looks like I am.
Ooh, I keep coming back to this dementia though.
I think I'm gonna do that too. I think I'm gonna do dementia. Uh,
Bro, what is this one?
what's that?
The blue
Apollo
one.
13, probably. Let me see.
This. Hold on, let me open this up.
What's it smell like? That might be Death Star, man. If it's green, super green, Death Star. Super yellow. Oh, is it hash or is it dry sift? That's hash.
It's hash.
That's a lot of hash.
Of course.
You gotta hook up.
I think that is Apollo.
Is that Apollo? Does it smell like funky cheese and baby diapers?
Yeah, it's kind of spicy. I think that's we found our winner.
2018, dude. Yeah, yeah. That I dished out the back stock. Yep. I'm almost certain it
Ah,
was the Apollo 13.
cheers, Amadeus. Cheers, Scroggy.
Blue top, man. Blue
Yeah,
top.
that's a blue top
Apollo
boy.
13.
Yeah,
Apollo
that's the.
13.
Yeah, let's see. because you didn't mark on these ones.
Yeah, shout out to not marking anything.
Just
Only going
just
off memory.
just the new glass
I'm
ones.
gonna tell you what it is, and you're expected to remember it forever.
Festival stuff, but roll it up, tasty.
I don't even remember it forever.
Hmm. Let's see. What else is going on in the wide world of cannabis out there?
No, in this grow room that we're building, man, I think I'm gonna vent it this time because the grow rooms that I built are not vented, and I'm sealed in these grow rooms,
Okay.
and I wish they were vented. So I'm gonna vent. I'm gonna vent this space that I'm building.
Where are you gonna vent to?
I'm gonna vent outside, and I'm not gonna vent up. I'm gonna vent out as if it were a like a dryer exhaust. I'm gonna go like off into the backyard, nowhere that we still got these nosy neighbors, and who knows what kind of technologies they have. So I'm gonna vent it out into the backyard as if it were
You know, some really
my
really
dryer chute.
stupid ghetto shit that I used to do is. Does anybody know what Ona is? You can get the Ona
Are
gel
those
or the
those
Ona. It's like
these
the smell thing.
deodorizing things?
Yeah, I had a really cheap old 4-inch carbon filter that was like dead and dying, and I didn't have money to buy a new one yet. But I had some really really loud ass plants, so I bought one of those Onas and just took the top of it off. It was the dry puck one. Dropped it down inside of there, and amazingly, it just made it so that it blew Ona out, you know, and exhausted that way. So, because I used to be, I didn't have a stack at my house to grow out of, so we had to tap into that whole thing, which sucks too. If you tap in by your dryer line, if you do it before the dryer, your clothes will smell like the dank. Ona is not worth it. Ozium seems better. Well, there we go. I am not sure. I have not used any of that stuff in a long time. I just started buying better carbon filters, and I didn't have really worry about it anymore. That's something I don't think you really should. You can buy them really cheap on eBay or Amazon or everything else, but if you are trying to use it as some form of like odor control and shit like that, you probably shouldn't scrimp on that, especially if you live in a red state. Somebody will tell on you. Instead of heating your garage, you could use a water bed heater under the fabric beds in a garage in winter.
Very good
Um,
idea.
sure, why not? What you could
Yeah, I
also
mean,
do is you could
let's go
elevate it.
experiment.
Is instead of putting your raised bed directly on the floor. Shout out to Gardening with Mother Nature. She has hers on pallets with wheels, and she doesn't have a 4x8. She has the 4x4s or smaller, so she can wheel those from like the veg to the flower. I do not have that opportunity. I
Yeah, I
replaced
see
carbon
carbon
filter
filter in chat.
cover.
Yeah, I would definitely in this exhaust that I'm talking about have a carbon filter on there for the nosy neighbors. And I would have it pulling the air, not pushing the air. I would
That,
actually have it sucking the air out with the negative pressure on the room so that all of the air uh gets sucked out of the room and there's no positive pressure on the room blowing any stink or stench through any cracks in the walls or ceiling. It would more or less be now you might want to hit some of your cracks in the walls with some, caulk or something because you might draw in the unexpected. But otherwise, that's what I like to do is have the negative air pressure on those small spaces if it's discretion that I'm after.
yeah,
Otherwise, I just keep like the sealed space that I run in right now. I just scrub the air. I have multiple carbon filters in the rooms, and they're just constantly going. You know, there's no
right.
negative
No,
pressure in
but
the
but
room.
you're not venting it out. You're just using it to actually to deodorize the air in the room. Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
feel you.
Yeah, it's not venting. Now, if it were being vented, I would still use a carbon filter. I just don't want to load up my shop with that smell. You know, not that I don't
Right.
like the smell, but again, we're in a legal state, and I prefer discretion.
I'm not trying to advertise. Hey, come check out my really dank smelling ass garden. We have some interesting questions going on in the chat. I'm trying to
I might
follow
even
along.
throw this. I might even throw this controller on, or this vent, this exhaust. I might even throw it on a temperature uh sensing device. temperature
Oh, like
controller
a
device.
controller that
Yeah,
if it
maybe
hits up to
something that's
like
gonna,
83, it's gonna dump.
yeah, it's gonna turn on, or yeah,
Well, again,
maybe
units like those,
humidity or CO2, whatever, like
it's
you
the
were saying.
upfront cost that gets you, but it gives you the ability to just completely and utterly, to the best of your ability, dial in exactly what your environment's doing.
With the two light and being LED and being really insulated well and having good airflow, probably wouldn't need an air conditioner.
No.
And really, we're just talking about a one light because we're flip flopping. So I mean, probably don't even need an AC. And
Well,
if
but
you
we do
do, I
need
mean,
two fans though, because we're not
yeah,
trying to share unless you're putting like the fan outside of the room and pulling through the room through the fan. You know what I'm saying? Or the fan's on the outside and you have both rooms connected to a Y channel. Otherwise, you would have to have two individual, I would say, 4-inch fans to
yeah,
do your air
you could
exchanges and
dump
stuff.
both rooms. I think I would exchange both rooms simultaneously with
Okay.
carbon filters, and then have a main, like maybe a smaller space, maybe above the rooms or next to the rooms that kind of share both rooms. That's more like a lung space,
Right.
that's doing my venting for me. So like, I don't know if you picture both each of my fists as a room, maybe something that encompasses the entire top, or a front facing side.
Was this like a clone box on top or something? Were you using the heat from the rooms to?
Yeah, you could do that. You could maybe put your veg up top, or maybe put your veg on the front, or something that encompasses both the rooms, and then use that as your air exchanger. Veg is a lot more forgiving. So using your
Almost hash
veg
time,
room
Red.
for your air exchanger. Oh, okay. Is what I like to use in my design.
It's getting all sucked into this grow room again.
Yeah, man. Down the grow room rabbit hole. I got a good question.
What's that?
I know the answer. Well, I
What's
think
the
I know
best
the
kind of
answer.
question?
I don't really know anything. But the question was, can I put the plant right in the ground? And I said yes, because that's what I do. I put my plants right in the ground. Um Now, with most plants that come from, in this scenario, the plants were already like synthetically grown. Nursery plants are always, in my scenario, ones that I get are usually synthetically grown. When I bring them home and I go to put them in my no-till regenerative organic beds, usually all that synthetic growth will get a little hiccup. It'll go a little yellow. It'll take, the first couple days, it'll get eaten by bugs. It'll do a little shift. And then it'll start to die off, and then the new growth will come in and turn really green, and it'll you can just kind of recognize that the roots for going into like it from in like this transition. The plant is going in this like transition phase from like not receiving its synthetic nutrients that it was used to into going into this like shared environment with the you know microbiome that's going on in the rhizosphere.
Red, this hash is really nice.
Dude, it's almost hash time. Holy cow. Hold on, I have to click the slider one more time.
Oh, Red.
Hey man. Hey man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right. So
So
hopefully everybody
go
out
find
there
that
is able
dementia. It
to
is right here. You don't have to actually go far for it.
roll up and smoke one with us. It would be a late session without the community smoke.
Yeah, so Team Chillum on the Groski float next week.
Oh,
We're gonna
shit.
I'm gonna bring my I mean, it's not a large Chillum by any means, but I'm gonna bring my larger Chillum.
Yeah.
This little tiny one that I'm always smoking. I don't even know what it is, to be honest.
I got my
The little
whole
purple one. I think it's
bat
upstairs.
utility belt of goofy shit for stuff. So we are still approaching the time.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna throw. I think my method for keeping my stuff dry is I'm probably gonna double wrap, Ziploc bag it, and toss it in one of those like nylon Nike bags. And it's hash time, everybody. Hash time. Pillow talk and hash time.
Sorry, Jack.
No, that was a very modest dingaling.
Thank you, Jed.
It was a good one.
Haters will say red smoking hot chocolate powder.
Hot chocolate. It does. The bottom of it kind of looks like hot
Cheers,
chocolate.
Spartan.
It's probably mostly contaminant down there. No longer chunky. Yeah, I failed. All my good hash smoking devices are definitely upstairs. I'm gonna have to smoke out of this little short spoon.
But hash gives me like the
Ooh, it's
itchy
gonna be
end of
hot.
my nose.
Said something. You got Daddy Red roasting over there.
And have him tore up from the floor up when he has his first harvest.
I'm excited, man. I'm super excited. Those plants are being handled by long time green thumbs.
Now, did Daddy Red ever grow in the days of yore?
I've heard old stories here and there of dibbling and dabbling in the family.
Dibbling
Um,
and dabbling. There we go.
uh, I'm not
Daddy Red
sure
is
how.
a dibbler.
I've heard lots and lots of stories. I don't know how many of the stories he remembers telling me, knows of telling me.
Statue of
Other family
limitations.
members. Yeah, definitely statute of limitations. There's I grew up like knowing that like my grandfather was like a green thumb. I'm sorry guys. And then I had a neighbor
Sound like you were
who
cocking
was
a 45
actually
over there, bro.
a big green thumb. What is that?
I said, goddamn, it sounded like you were cocking a 45 over there, like,
Oh,
whoa, whoa,
no,
whoa.
no, no. Just jar
Easy.
lids. Just jar lids. The party going on over here. Yeah, had a neighbor who had me basically helping him out as his like garden boy. I would go over there and pull his weeds and take care of his flowers. And I was young, dude, 7, 8 years old, probably just old enough to
You
like
said
push
early
lawnmower.
70s. Right on, Daddy Red.
No, oh yeah, early 70s. There we go. Very cool. They knew how to hang back then.
Yep.
Before that, the old
Daddy
just say
Red.
no era.
Nancy.
The spoon might actually work for me, Scobo. It's not too hot. I was afraid that was gonna be kicking.
Nah.
I failed on getting shout out Frenchy Cannoli. I don't know. I forget who the artist was that he
Get that
had on
nice
his
burn.
page. He had an Italian artist chillum. They were clay chillums for sale on his page. I failed to get one or even contact if they're still available.
Oh, now there you go.
I might have yeah, I blew it out too early. Honestly, it's not going.
She got the bubble, but not the sizzle. Now, this older chillums are pretty sweet, but they're hard to find. That's uh, that's one thing I always do when I go to a glass shop. I always want to check out, the smaller hand pipes and shit like that. I think I've probably got 5 or 6 of them now.
Oh, there we go. I hit live chat, Scobo.
Did you finally get right? You told yourself that an hour and 4 minutes ago, bro.
Procrastination.
Do as I say. Isn't there radioactivity in clay? There may be in some forms.
I hope not, dude. My entire backyard is a solid foundation of clay.
Ooh, dank agenda. Has anyone ever smoked or eaten an edible for pain managed that ended up feeling worse than pain. I separated my shoulder once in smoke thinking it would help, but it made the felon. Yes. No, dude, that would be awful.
It's totally possible, man. You can have the anesthetic effect of it, or you can have the heightened sense and heightened awareness effect, to where your heightened awareness is so high that it it enhances the awareness of your pain, right?
Yeah.
That totally can happen. Happen under like psychedelics, and it's really like a psychoactive effect in my mind of
Yeah.
cannabis. You're over analyzing yourself. You're over analyzing maybe the products you took or something, and um, you're not allowing your body to relax, and maybe you're getting anti-inflammatory effects, and you're just
Get into your
too
own
tense.
headspace. Yeah.
Yeah, you're too tense in your own headspace to actually allow your body to succumb to the effects of the cannabis to perform its duty. You know what I mean? Where it's possible. So maybe it's a matter of switching up your strain, switching up the edible,
Well, it would really suck if,
the
like,
vendor.
let's say that was your first experience or one of your only experiences with cannabis, and everybody's told you like, "Oh, this is the best thing in the world for pain." Like, see it, but I feel like
I would
sometimes that could be an
recommend.
issue of too high of a dosage can cause those issues. So if you
Yeah,
slap
totally,
somebody
man.
upside the head
Yep.
with some gigantic dose or dab or edible or something, crazy like that, and they don't normally have THC floating around in them, I think they can really, yeah, maybe it was a sativa that made him feel racy. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I would suggest, if this was like maybe one of my patients asking me about this, I would suggest trying some CBD supplements in there, elevating the amount of CBD that you're doing, kind of help alleviate maybe some of those psychoactive effects, maybe some of that overthinking, maybe help alleviate some of the actual pain. Um, act as a real anti-inflammatory. I'm stuttering over here.
Dude, I love what Amadeus is saying. This is like the kind of conversations that are interesting to me. It says, yes, sour tangy made my nervous system a disaster. Should have just gave it away. Whatever the terpene profile was made my autoimmune disease overactive. Yeah.
It also reminds me of a patient.
Cheers, T-Mac.
Excuse me, sorry. It also reminds me of a patient that I had who had not glaucoma, but it was a
High pressure
like,
situation?
I don't know, but he had muscle spasms really bad in his eyes,
Yeah.
really bad in one eye, and it would get to the point where his other eye would get them, and so both of his eyes would be having these muscle spasms, and he would
Uh,
constantly be blinking, and he couldn't drive, and heavy indicas really helped. Now he tried other strains, whether or not they were like sativas, I couldn't really tell you, but there were strains that made his spasms worse, right? But Granddaddy Purple, Purple Kush, some of these others, like, little purple indicas, would like clear him up, make it so that his spasms were almost non-existent. He was able to drive as far as, across state, 6 hours, whatever, up north,
yeah. I
before he
think
had
of
to
that
remedicate.
again. There's so many good points that are being brought up in the chat. First, Jack wanted to thank you for recommending Cannabis Pharmacy, that book. Um, and then Amadeus says also, again, I think some varieties just don't agree with your personal microbiome, immune system, and endocannabinoid system. And I definitely think that that's my line of thinking as well. Is to my understanding, the way that the system works is like keys in a lock. So everyone's system is a little bit different, and it has a little bit of a different effect sometimes for some people. Um, we all know people that if you give them some of the raciest stuff, that it just doesn't have that effect on them at all. Quite the opposite sometimes. So they're I don't know what to call them, but it's definitely an experiential plan.
You know what I kind of compare the sativa effects to is I compare it to like Ritalin or Adderall on somebody whose personality actually accepts that type of a formula, right? That substance or that medication. Some people take Ritalin or Adderall, and it acts as a stimulant for them. It acts as almost like a drug, right? But other
Right.
people whose personalities might actually be in need of that formula, and they use Adderall or Ritalin, and it balances them out and it calms them down, right?
Right.
It's very similar effects that I believe that sativas have. Like for me, sativas balance me out. They don't necessarily calm me down, but they allow me to focus. They allow me to like adhere to the task and like just go on, right. Whereas if somebody else smokes a sativa, they're like boing and like gone. Sativas don't really do that to me. You know, I drink coffee and stuff like that to kind of elevate me. But I mean, coffee, you know, is a good entourage.
Oh yeah, coffee and cannabis. It's
You know, like
just
a
that's peanut butter
co
and jelly.
substance for cannabis. You know.
Yeah. I mean, there's. I usually drink a really really dark roast coffee in the morning, and I feel like it really helps me enjoy the whole thing much better. Speaking of that, I've given myself some crazy cotton mouth, so I've got to go grab some kind of libation.
Oh, you're gonna leave me alone, and oh, here we go. So Jack, the yeah, um, maybe you have some other good words to say about cannabis pharmacy. I would say that I, excuse me, I have frogs in my throat like crazy. The most that I learned out of that book was really like the safety profiles of cannabis and the safety profiles of terpenes. For one example being the caution that they give with myrcene in that book, almost repetitively, for people who may be suffering from depression or anxiety, where myrcene just has a tendency to, you know, slow you down and make you kind of almost couch lock and overthink situations. And to be honest, I've had that experience, and I know friends who have that experience when they smoke like Granddaddy Purple. It's really high in myrcene.
Love it.
Usually, if there's a little something else tied in there with pinene or something, you can kind of overcome that. I have another real heavy purple that's high in myrcene, but it has some pinene in it. It's not as thought provoking, but I can see where cannabis pharmacy gets some of these cautions from. So, shout out to that, Jack. Thanks, man.
Cheers, Heather. Yeah, see, again, me and Amadeus, man, we just vibing here. You can see it in the mega pain sufferers, all that mercy and heavy THC. Oh, and using the FSO, nice. We're able to get moving. Yeah. And that's it for me is I smoke all day long, but I really go at it hammer and tongs early in the day. And I do so to try to get the inflammation under control and try to loosen up enough because I work on my feet all day. So for someone who has neck and back issues the way that I do, as well as the nerve damage and everything else, it's definitely a chore. So cannabis is what helps me be able to actually go to work and be functioning.
Man, you know, I had the thought of cannabis being a focus stimulant. You know, I don't call coffee a drug, right? We don't typically call coffee a drug, but that's what it is. I mean,
Sure.
it changes your mood, it changes your personality in a sense. But that's what it is. You know, just about everything that we can ingest that changes us to some sort of an extent in that way is a drug. That's what it is. And you know, not to go down like the drug rabbit hole, but I'm just saying that like legal substances aren't far from cannabis, and like it's good that we're normalizing cannabis in this way because it needs to be. It needs to be looked at as a simple wake up in the morning and toke your bowl. You're not getting far out, man. You know, you can, and that's always cool. But typically for the the average person who uses cannabis on a daily basis, they're using cannabis on a daily basis. They're used to it. They're used to this wake and alleviate pain and alleviate just, I don't know, whatever extra thoughts are going on, and it kind of helps you like streamline your day in a sense. If you need to, like me, I'm not the type of person who writes a lot of things down. I keep a lot of thoughts in my head. I keep a lot of plans and a lot of all my notes are just kind of floating around in the file in the head files. So it's good to
Yep.
smoke and organize that, once, twice, a couple times.
Sometimes though, I've had things that were really, really good for my pain, and it possibly was because it was when I first started growing. So my consumption level went from like here up to like here. Um, was I had to be careful. I used to have a strain called papaya, and I would smoke it in the morning. And I used to get up at like 5:30 when I'd have to work at 7:30 because it took that long for me to smoke and drink coffee and get right. I had a problem where this was great for inflammation, but it would like almost knock me back out cold. So I would smoke one and I would be like nodding off, like, oh fuck, man, I gotta go to work. So I had to learn to mix that with something else in the morning and not just smoke that straight out of the gates.
And that's the joy of it not being a black market anymore. That's kind of the joy of it not being. That's the joy of it being like almost like, let's call it a somewhat of a free market or a regulated market, or and by black market I mean you don't have the option to choose. You're getting whatever got imported from overseas or something. You don't get to choose what's been grown. You don't get to choose what strain, what effect you're getting. Like, that's what I consider black market. I don't consider black market like maybe it came from California or something. Yeah, it is, but like, to me black market is like you don't have a choice. You get what you get, and it's usually swag, and it's got seeds, and it's garbage, right? So we have luxuries now that a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
states still don't have, right? So we're real fortunate there. So shout out, to all you guys who are putting up with our bougie, strains and stuff. But for what we're able to do is we're able to dial in that daytime and say this doesn't knock me out. Like, what'd you say it was? Abolished OG, you can't smoke it in the day, in the morning.
Oh
Puts
yeah.
you back
Abolished
out.
is another one that I have to be careful. Check it out. I have a green grinder, so I can turn around and make the moon come through wherever it's at. Ooh, there you go.
I was gonna say, with it up against you, it
Look
looks
at
like just
that.
a late sesh. It just looks like a
It's
moon.
yeah, it's like a huge ass Santa Cruz.
Big moon.
Oh, there we go. Make it the same size.
That's awesome, Skilbo.
Fun with the green screen, guys.
Hiding away, hiding
It
away.
cost us at least 8 viewers right there. Oh, what are we gonna grind up here? Let's see. What's it gonna be this time?
Hey man,
Hey
hey
man,
man.
you know what?
Yeah, street weed. I'm like swept up from the street weed.
We're talking about abolished. Do I have some abolished here? I think I do. Let's see.
I'm excited to meet up with everybody on Sunday. I hope I get a chance. Hope I'm able to. Hope that the stars align and no crazy mechanical catastrophes occur or anything. That makes it so I can't join up with you guys. Hopefully, I'll be able to share some time with all of you and some smoke with all you guys.
Yeah, man, I'm coming to pick you
It'll be a
up.
blast, dude.
Yes, rest in peace to Dr. Grinspoon. I seen his passing. Definitely one of the pioneers for studying cannabis. Way, way, way back, I believe. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it would have been the late '60s or the early '70s, I believe. I think he was 90. He was in his 90s. And
That's a real
as
awesome life, man.
yeah, also as part of our little while I'm grinding up here, if you didn't get a chance to catch the Bro Show live last night, we had Fergroleon, and as always, really good dude, great content. If you didn't catch it, make sure you go to the channel and watch that. And if you are an early bird as well as a late sesher, you can also catch Wake and Bake with the Groskies Thursday mornings at 6 a.m. And that's with me and Sequence and Tara and Dankman Dan. Get your day kicked off right. There we go, 92 years old.
Have you ever seen uh the cannabis plant, Dr. Greenspoon, the strain or
Oh,
the
dude, it's really
genotype,
crazy
Dr.
looking.
Greenspoon?
I was in, was it like the Big Book of Buds 1 or 2 or something like that?
For those of you who haven't seen this, it just looks like a whole bunch of little bracts or calyxes,
Yeah.
spaced up, spaced apart, almost like peas on
It looks
a
terrible.
vine. It's very strange looking. Like where you would expect it to be a flower, it was just a single bract or single calyx. Yeah, and they would
I'm
be
not sure
spaced
what the
like
cross is on that or
a couple
what that.
centimeters apart or
I mean,
something.
obviously it's some kind of crazy sativa. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I always
that's
thought it
just
was like in the lines of land, like a land race or some kind of a local varietal somewhere. I don't know who would use that as. It can't be like a worked varietal. I don't know why anybody would choose that unless it has some crazy effects, that was specifically
could be
used. And you
somebody's
grow enough
medicine.
of them,
Yeah.
dude, you grow enough of those close enough together, you're gonna get enough of those little bracts will add up to make some hash or something out of it.
Well, it's like we were talking about the grow off, and it's a cross between a pineapple Thai and the strawberry. So it's interesting to see that the people that pop those are getting things along the lines of both the strawberry flavor as well as the like pineapple funk. So it's cool when you can put two plants together and get some kind of like reasonable idea of what you're going to get out of it. But for every one of those, there's also that outlier that is completely different. That maybe it smells like something unidentifiable, but you really, really dig it. It's kind of, we've all had those before.
Yeah, the worst is when you really love it in veg. It just has a real skunk funk, or it just has a real nice profile, and then you flower it, and the profile kind of holds through early flower, and then it gets really funky and fruity and
Yeah.
sweet and candy, and then you chop it and you dry it, and it smells like garbage and
Yep.
just nothing, and it doesn't hold. And I don't mean it goes to hay and you did a bad cure. I mean it just has
Doesn't
nothing,
have longevity.
no longevity. It's gone.
Cheers, Delta
Everything
9.
else cures up nice, right? That's one of the reasons I enjoyed. Like we were talking about monocropping. I think it was last night we were talking about monocropping. I hope it was our show. God, man, I've been watching so much content, dude. It could have been somebody else's show that I was just tuning into, not talking about monocropping. But I enjoy like having a couple different strains in the room. That way, it's
Oh,
something
yeah.
that I've actually grown before and I've cured before. That way, come curing time, if I can kind of like get quality. It's way to like quality check everything. Make sure everything's still on point, on par.
We still have 61 people hanging out with us. I want to say cheers to you.
Cheers,
I hope you've been able
61.
to smoke along with us. If you happen to have any questions, wait a minute, it says Red explained why no one has truly nailed RKS. It's a bang post shot. Okay. There's a lot of strains that my friends grow that I have clones of that I feel that they absolutely grow way better than I do. And it tastes way better. But it could be my commitment. Like Red has Rainbow Driver that I really, really like. And when he grows it out, I personally can really taste the dosey dough in it. So it would be interesting to see if I grow it out, if I would still be able to pull those same notes out of it in a completely different setup, system, environment. Um, so I don't know. It could be a nice hint for Red.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm growing it outdoors right now. and I'm growing one outdoor. I'm really curious to see how it's gonna.
How does it look out there?
Great, man. It's really at first, like I said, with the synthetic foundation going into like the clay. I'm not joking about the clay, man. I don't have topsoil in my yard.
It's just breaking
I'm
through.
like I'm like sod on clay, right? That my entire neighborhood's sod on clay, and maybe it was seeded. It might be seeded. Eh, When I moved in, it was all weeds in the backyard, and I hand pull. And I, for the first couple years, I had somebody come in and I did the bad thing, and I had them spray and stuff. But it was supposed to be an organic spray. Supposedly, many years later, I don't even want to attribute it to it, but my dog's feet have always had in like stomach and stuff had gotten like tumors and things on it. So I kind
It's
of,
licking his feet
you
and
know,
shit.
yeah, I'm really kind of curious if it's been the sprays over the years. But I stopped doing the sprays about 4 or 5 years ago now. But I lived in this house for 7, going on 8 years. So you know, um, I'm hoping that in that amount of time, maybe there's been enough enzymatic activity. Is that the word, right?
Oh, for it to be repaired?
Enzymatic activity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the UV from the sun and stuff like that, and extra mulching of the grass. The
Well, does the
the
grass look great out there? Does I mean when you
Okay,
put
so
the
yeah,
plant
so the
in?
bright side, as long as I'm watering it, grass looks great. Grass looks
Okay.
green. And then I go out there, and the only weeds that I have problems with are dandelions that I don't consider weeds, and I don't consider them a problem because I kind of I don't want to say that I propagate them, but I
Are you
just
gonna
I,
make
I
the
manage
FPJ
them.
out of those? The dandelion?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hold on to them. Yeah, I'll pluck the leaves and I'll use them. I'll separately like chop them up and
I didn't do that this year, and you had mentioned that to me earlier about how you can use all three parts of the dandelion: the roots, the stems, and the tops.
the
And
root's
for
great, man, because if you can get down there with I like to use
they
these.
got
It's
those
like a
tools,
long
dude.
tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long digging tool. Just
Yeah.
got a nice little wide V fork on the end of it. You can kind of
Just
follow the root all the way down. Just kind of crank it. The whole thing will pull. That's what I use with thistles. Give the yard a nice watering, and I'll just get all the thistles. And I mean,
if Red never sees
I'm on
another
I'm on a third of
thistle,
an
it'll
acre.
be
I'll do a
too
third of
soon.
an acre. By myself. I'll do a third of an acre. I mean, a lot of thistles. Spaced an arms width apart. Everywhere, and it'll take me an hour. I'll just get the whole yard done real fast, and dude, and then bag it all up, and then I got the thistle mixed with the grass clippings and whatever else is in there. What I like about the thistle is you get that long, deep carrot root. I think I've talked about this before, but the same deal with the dandelions is they just hold deep ground minerals. Shoot, in my case, I'm already in clay, so it's probably like bedrock. I don't know. But I mean, I get real long roots. I can't even show on the screen. They're at least like 10, 12-inch long roots. They're going down. So my neighborhood, it was like old farmland, right? And I'm guessing it's one of two things. This is all in theory. This is just a guess. They either scraped the topsoil and sold it to a topsoil company, or or it's just been overly saturated with mineral salts over the years in the cornfields or bean fields or whatever it was, because it's just straight clay. There's this like very little micro activity. I mean, aside from like the mulching of the grass that I've done over the years. So that's kind of what I'm in the process of doing. And so these second season beds, you can tell the difference. First season beds, I mean, I just went in and I didn't even till, like I just kind of like pitchfork, like
Broke it out. Yeah.
kind of like stuck it in there and like bent it down and just kind of like aerate, lift and dropped it, right? Some of the chunks kind of rolled over, and when they dry, I mean, it's just like rocks of clay just chunking around sitting there, and you'll peel it back and I'll look through it, and there's not a lot of worms, not a lot of like rollies, not a lot of microbiological activity. I'm butchering that. But anyways, going to the second season beds where there's hay, there's grass clippings, there's all kinds of stuff from last year, all the old leaves and everything. It's a good couple inches thick over the winter, and
Now, do you have the
uh,
big temperature rod that you can stick in there to make sure that everything is cooking right?
no, I mean it's not really compost. I call it like cold composting. It's just kind of
Okay.
breaking down. Um, in my mind, like hot composting is to get a compost pile turned and get yourself like a nice couple gallons worth of compost in like 15 days or 30 days. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to like finish your compost in a speeded amount of time. Or you're trying to kill seeds, or you're trying to kill weeds, or you're heating it up to kill
Oh,
activity. But I'm keeping it cold so that, what I get is seeds. I get weeds. I get seeds. But I keep the seed pressure down in my yard. Like I said, I pull it before they flower and stuff like that. So I hope they don't come up. The grass usually the beginning of the year will seed, but we'll see. Um, I got to pull all that stuff. It's just management. But
so how big is this rainbow
like I said,
driver? Let's get off the clay and get back to the cannabis.
I like that I can like move my screen around and I move, but my background doesn't move. It used to be backwards before. Haha.
Deep
The
in the
Rainbow
late sesh.
Driver is getting about knee high, man. Knee high by the 4th of July, dude. I dig it.
Okay.
I got a couple grape bleeds that are slow to start, but they're all really bushing out. Like I said, they were going a little yellow, doing like, a couple leaves, getting some bug bites, and I'm not worried about a couple bug bites in the beginning. Um, it's just nature. I'm waiting for the flowers to bloom, and I got enough little beehives and stuff floating around that I don't really do any sprays or anything. So it's kind of like an experimental garden of just trying to do as much natural permaculture as possible. So in between my plant plots, basically it's like a row of staggered cannabis plants staggered with radish and sunflowers.
And the radishes are to do something to the
So the
soil,
radishes
right?
are do well. The radishes are going to break up the soil, but what I'm doing right now is I initially seeded last year, and then I let most of I picked a few and ate them. Most of the rest of them, actually all of them, uh,
You don't just
flowered.
eat them like an apple, do you? You don't just like.
Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah, I kind of just I break while I'm out there like watering. I'll grab a couple collards and I'll grab a couple like Swiss chard leaves and I'll kind of make a little salad and I'll kind of munch
Salad
on
on
like
the run,
three or
yeah.
four. Yeah, a little salad on a little lunch out there watering and gardening. And
When's the last time you ate some cannabis leaves?
today I top my plants. I
Today.
top I top the outdoor ones and they're almost big enough to start juicing. So I'm getting
It
really
was
excited.
spicy.
Got a
Is the rainbow
juicer from
spicy?
the rainbow's like not spicy. The rainbow's nice and sweet. Oh, it's delicious actually. I'm
I
excited
wasn't
to
sure
use
because it's
that one
still
in the
basically in
juicing.
veg.
The flow's got a little bit of spiciness to it. Yeah, in veg, like the rainbow is just delicious all the way throughout. I'm really excited to use that one in juicing. I'm glad I have one outdoors. And there's some grape glee out there, but the grape glee is a little bit just more fibrous. Not a lot of like outstanding flavor that I would say. It's just kind of like a fibrous like OG leaf.
All right, drop it
There
here
is actually
first.
like
What is the
there's
Red
like
Setter
some
Farm, the juicing recipe of recipes? Talk somebody through how they can do this at home besides just
I'm gonna have to
grabbing a
do it
big bin
myself.
full.
I'm gonna have to do it myself first, man. I just usually just m- top my plants and munch on the tops. And I like the tops because it's like the freshest, uh, newest life, off the
Yeah.
plant. It's got the most energy. It's got the least amount of like fiber, I guess. Which, if you want fiber, it's not the best thing. But for me, I
With
just
those
want like
woody pieces at the bottom.
water weight nutrition. Yeah, like you start getting lower on the plant, and like the leaves that are a lot lower on the plant are definitely a lot more fibrous, less juice weight, a lot more like stem weight and stuff to it. So I'm gonna work on some juicing recipes, and I'll get back to you on that. But personally, I just sometimes I'll muddle some leaves and put them in a water. I'll do
Right?
stuff like that, like with mint. Same
They,
deal with mint.
they think you're fucking with them in chat. Thank Agenda does not believe you. I know that Red is honest on this. This is truly Red Setter.
Yeah, I totally
All stages of the plant. all
I must
stages.
I'm oh there we go. My chat was froze a long time ago, so I think I got
Red, you're letting us
Grandma car
down.
going for a ride. Nope, nope, not fucking with you. No, not fucking with you. I see that now. So so let me think about this. Dude, they're all bushing out really nice. I didn't even really top them either. A couple of them are still kind of catching up. The couple grape glees, like I was saying.
They're
But
making the
unfortunately have a
transition
couple
from
extras. Yeah, they're still trying to work on their transition, right? The other ones have I'm gonna say that they're coming around, man, right? The last of the old dead growth is pretty much, or the old like synthetic growth is pretty much either gone yellow and I picked it off, or it's accepted it's you know new
even Daddy
excellent
Red.
regenerative.
Look at your chat.
Oh yeah, yeah, he
They're
knows.
laughing, and Daddy Red is holding up that total blue flame.
Mulberry's getting ripe. Yeah, my neighbor's mulberry tree hangs into my yard, and I ate a handful today, as a matter of fact, for lunch. Yep. Collards and mulberries. That was my lunch.
Red is the healthiest guy I know as far as his nutrition.
Oh, dude, I ate a donut for
Oh well,
probably just before I came down here. Don't go there. And I'm lactose intolerant.
the only cheese for you is the strain, right?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's gotten a lot better because I've actually gotten away from a lot of the old eating habits that I had probably a half a decade ago when I changed employment. I basically changed my diet, and it kind of made me feel a lot better. I haven't had nearly as many digestive issues as I used to have. So
Think how much fried food you were getting in the industry, Red. He was living on fucking who knows what cheese sticks. It's good
yeah, I was
stuff.
never a big like cheese stick guy or really a big fried food guy, but I was always, yeah, man, I'm big like I would be like, oh, I'm gonna eat my chicken wings. I'm gonna like put them on the grill or I'm gonna bake them or something, you know. But then I would still just like load them with sauce and stuff, right? Which was a lot of sugar, tons of sugar, tons of just all kinds of other stuff in it, you know,
Red Setter Farm needs no more sugar.
processed chemicals. No, no, or dyes. You know, a lot of it's like dyes on those like fake buffalo sauces and stuff, man. Just so many
Yeah.
lists of ingredients you can't pronounce, you know. So that was my like daily diet, you know. You go work on the shift for like 10, 15 hours a day, and that's all you really eat is what's available at
Trash.
the place that you work, you know.
You know, people eat that shit once a week, not every day. You know, twice a day when you're pulling a 15-hour shift.
Yeah, totally. And then and I totally understand, you know, the habits of like trying to get outside and take it, and you know that honestly, man, working in the service industry is probably where, you know, getting like just my lungs being so heavy got, you know, right, being able to smoke so many cigarettes or smoke so much weed or anything like that. It was just like you get a break. You don't get like a 30-minute lunch. You don't get a
No,
45-minute. You get a
8 minutes,
staggered bunch
7 8
of
minutes.
3-minute breaks throughout the day. You know, you might get
Yeah,
15 3-minute breaks, you know, and so you're going to smoke like 15 cigarettes. You know what I mean? So I would smoke a pack of cigarettes on a shift usually, very easily. You know, maybe I'd smoke a joint before work or somewhere in between. Have to make like a grocery store run or something to get supplies and be able to get a chance to cool your jets and toke one or something. But otherwise,
bust out the gravity bong out back, right?
oh, you know, we all know what happens back behind the
Pickle,
dumpsters at
pickle
restaurants.
buckets. Yeah. Joe doesn't want us to talk about food right now. He doesn't realize the last half hour or 20 minutes of the show we start talking about food because we know at the end of the show you're either going to slide over and watch something else, but you're probably going to make your way over to find a little bit of sustenance to go along with the smoke.
Yeah, after 2 hours of burning, a good hour of burning hash. I like when I get down to the bottom of the hash, it's still burning. I'm able to top it off. I'm not doing it right now. more of a do as I say, not as I do
Dude,
situation. But
that Apollo 13 fucking,
yeah,
it
still
has a
good.
creeper. It's a creeper on it. You know what I mean? Like I smoked that and I smoked that joint, and I'm just like,
I'd love to get it tested now that it's 2+ years old. It's going on June, so 2 1/3 of a year.
like a
It's pretty
terpene
cool.
profiling would be really interesting to see if there's a lot of myrcene in it.
Oh no, I would guess that that one's not myrcene. I would guess that what's hitting you and fading you right now is CBNs because it's
Oh,
so
just the
old.
degradation of the
Yeah, the
THC. Yeah,
oxidation of it. Yeah, I would imagine that's what's getting you. I'm curious to what the terpene is in it. I would love to get it tested because it's like I don't want to call it skunky and funky, but it's like
yes.
cheesy and wheezy, if you will.
Red Cedar Farms, cheesy, wheezy.
Cheesy and wheezy. Yeah, it's got that like baby diaper funk is what
Oh, don't say that.
and
You're gonna get
I
abolished
know
all
about.
started in chat, man.
I'm just glad that I'm not the only one that ever thought about it because I had never heard about it before, and then I smelled like I couldn't figure it out. Right, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of trimming, and I got shit in the jar and stuff. The fuck, I'm smelling all over, and I got a dog, so I'm like sniffing the carpet. I'm going all over. I can't figure it out. And it took me a while, and I'm like, it's what I'm trimming. What the fuck? And I kept it, man. I'm like, I'm not getting rid of this. This is awesome. Call this a Labrador.
Labrador. I had the bartender dropped a small bag on me, and does it's unknown parentage. Um, but I feel like I can't describe the terpenes, but I can describe what strain that I've had that tastes like it. So to me, this tastes like Hindu Kush. And if anybody's ever had that, it's like a spicy but not quite peppery kind of thing going on with it. It's got a really good flavor. So I have enjoyed that for the wake and bakes.
It's almost like in the name, right? You think of like Indian food, you think of like a spice like curry or just like the smells and
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. Like
right.
that's exactly what like
Like
I
spices.
get off of like Hindu Kush too. It's like yeah, very very floral. What do you
But
think? Like caryophyllene spice, like peppery, or is it like
yeah, but it not like black peppery bites.
okay, so probably not caryophyllene. Maybe more like linalool or something like that.
No, I don't know. It's got like an earthy thing with it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Sagey,
Abolish
maybe
says
sagey.
named the baby diaper terps as to be called poopines instead of terpenes.
Poopines. I like that, but you have to say it like, "Do you have any gray
Poopines,
poopines?
gray poopines.
Gray poopines." Jack, do you happen to know the poopines? If you're still in chat, maybe you're still in chat. Maybe Jack knows. It's probably an ester. He's gonna come back and tell us it's an alcohol. Because dude, it does have like a slight bit of the grease, almost like with the diesels or those like
Gas.
little narrow leaf limey type plants have a little greasy. It's not like really it's got a little bit of that. But what it does do is it shoots sideways, goes outwards. It doesn't like to go up. It does have long narrow leaves, almost like a sativa. So, but stays short, man. It's not a big stretcher, so it's hard to like dial in its growth. Uh, to call it like sativa or indica. Definitely not indica. Not indica in effect, and it's. I would take it a little longer too. I would take it 65, 70 days as opposed to 55, 60 days. So I call it a sativa.
Jack is saying that he loves the way that ash burns or melts.
Damn it, Jack. That's not poopines.
No,
But I'm going to agree with you.
it would be the yeah, maybe it is the terpene.
Terpenol, man. That's one we don't talk about very much, and it is a common one that
Cinnamon and
that's
clove make a
very
vomit
medicating.
odor? What the fuck? No, say it ain't so, Trey. Damn, that almost sounded good too.
That one might get the Spartan kick from me.
I
That
don't
one
know,
might go out
cinnamon
the door,
cinnamon
dude.
cannabis probably wouldn't be too enjoyable. But I have had some clovey ones that have the aftermouth feeling.
Oh, he might be talking about the Hindu Kush though. I get like kind of a
Yeah, yeah,
cinnamony off the Hindu Kush.
it's like an
And
incense.
then the floral, like some floral, like I know I get that off of like I don't want to shout it out bad, but like Grape Crush was kind of vomity, to be honest. Like I kind of know
Not
that too of
enjoyable,
what he's talking. Not no, like it's like a sour, like
dude.
fermented sour type of funk. You know, I know
See, I've
exactly
never
what
grown
you're
anything
talking
that's
about,
been like repulsive.
but
I've had
it's like
things that were like,
yeah.
dang, but not like, ooh, I don't really like this at all. And I've got a whole fucking, shit ton of this now that I
It
really
was
don't want
almost
to smoke.
called repulsive. Like I showed it to my homie, and he was like, "Ooh, that's offensive." That's I would almost call that offensive. And I was like, "Ugh."
Somebody out there likes that stuff too.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It was like real good sedating cannabis, and it was really nice looking plants. They grew really purple. They stayed really short. Like they were really little floral. I'd call them little indicas. They're really nice little plants. DJ Short does great work, man. His all his lines are very, very like stacked and very similar.
No,
The grape like I had like three phenos. They were all identical little plants. And they
bro
all
is
were
asking about the
funky.
the coffee terps, and he's asking Jack if he knows ones. And I would recommend the Bubba Kush, man. Bubba Kush has a lot of those coffee flavors that come through for me. I actually have a pack of it's what it's a pre 98 cross with a pre 98, and I think it's called Double Bubba. Not by any big seed breed or anything else, but never enough spots in the garden to pop all the shit you want to fucking dig around with, you know?
Well, I'm getting very close to finally doing a jump on another summer pheno hunt here.
What's going to be? The lime?
It's going to be this
The
archive
lime with the
thing. This
coconut?
thing I've been talking about for real. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to shout out older episodes. We can talk about it. It's been a while since I've talked about it. I've barely touched on it in the past. I think we started to talk about it, and I probably talked about like one strain, and we diverted. So I'll
You know
talk
how
about
we
another
do.
one of the
We
strains. Yeah,
go off the fucking rails here.
I'll talk about a second strain that I want to do. So we're gonna stick in the line of the archive fem pheno hunt.
Okay.
There's a couple regulars that I do want to hunt that I got from them this year. One of them was the Dozy Do Gelato. Was it Dozy Do Gelato or Dolato Gelato? Um, I think it was called Do Lato or something like that. But I want to hunt that. I think that might be part of their fem line. I think Rainbow Belts was part of their fem line, which might be I don't know if it was Rainbow Driver and Moonbow or something like that, but it might be another one of these crosses. They might be similar. Sorry guys, I'm hitting hash and trying
Get
not to cough.
get pretty fucking high, man.
My face getting all beat red right now. The
Got the hash sweats.
excuse me. I cut the grass today, so I'm just like all kinds of loaded up with allergens. So great time to have a conversation. So the Tahiti lime is one that I'm really excited for. I'm
The
hoping
lime
that it's
leaner.
gonna do the whole yeah, like this archive stack and wait and give me like really good buds, but I'm hoping it's gonna give me like a really nice like lime energy boosting pine lime. I thought I muted, sorry. The another one is the lemon G lemon something off the top of my head. I don't know if it was called lemon G, but or if it has lemon G in it. Um, but that's supposed to have like a. It actually has like Christmas wreath or pine wreath in the description. So I'm really hoping to pull a pine off of this.
That's going to get a
Jack
lot of
and yeah,
people. Yeah,
talk about the pining dreams of
that's
chapstick.
that's Spartan, you, me, Jack, Sequence, all on that pine terp. So anybody in chat that is holding on to something really, really piney should reach out. Cheers, DB420. Anybody else I haven't shouted out yet? Drop something in the chat. Definitely make sure. And I am smoking on this abolished OG, and I think that's also what's making me get the super slid thing going on with it. So the nice thing is, this is from. Ooh, this is really old. What is the date on this one? This is something harvested from December. So a true 6 month plus care.
You know what we'll do is maybe next week. Next week I'll bring the seed stash down here, right? It'll be yeah, I'll probably have it out. We're all meeting up on the 5th and things. I'm sure I'll have the seed stash out. So let's say I bust it out and we'll go through maybe some of these archives and maybe I'll have maybe I got some freebies from last season's garden. Maybe some of the granddaddies or the great
Yeah,
babes I can
man.
give away on next week's show or something.
We
We'll
did that.
do a
Yeah, we
little
did that on 420.
little tease for everybody there. Yeah. Yeah, and we'll do a little 6th of July. We'll do a little post Independence Day giveaway next
But
on the next day session.
we do have that coming up. So we have the float down on the 5th. We have the late session on the 6th. And then that week, the Bro Show Live will actually be turning one. So we will have done it for 1 year at that point. I believe the
You're
start date
totally right, dude. Was it the 7th or the
July
8th?
July 8th. I think is 7th
8th?
or 8th is when we did it because we wanted to put something out for
I was
7th.
harvesting that night, dude. Yeah, I remember that very well. I was harvesting and I was like, oh, I'm able to live chat with these guys. That's fucking
Yeah, you weren't
sweet.
even on it, dude. That's how long ago that
I had
was.
never live chatted on it. I never live chatted like on the GrowTube. There is GrowTube? GrowTube?
Yeah,
Dude,
grow
I'm
tube,
high,
brown
man.
tube. Yeah.
I never had an account, so I was never able to like join chat or anything. And I had gotten an account, and I don't know if I was Lucky Leaf. I might have been Lucky Leaf Wellness right off the rip. Uh, Man, maybe I was Red Setter Farm at the time. I think I had already made the transition. I was trying to do this like Irish, keep like the Irish Hills like thing going, right? Because I'm still trying to like do you know set up shop, and I'm in Irish Hills, so I'm trying to keep that kind of name, I suppose. So, anyways, just need to take more hash in there here.
That's what the problem is. There's
That's the
always more
problem.
hash.
Needs more hash there. So,
Ah,
let's go. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. We're getting
baby,
old now.
come back.
Baby, come back me. There we go.
Daddy Red said it's a good show, but he's got to go.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Cheers, Daddy
Now
Red.
it's rambling time. Love you, Daddy Red. Love you, Mama Red.
Make sure you
Probably out
catch
there
us next week for
chat
some more
land.
of Red Setter playing Robert Plant with the Ramble On.
Ramble on, man.
Try some of those face-off crosses. The high piney, as I feel gives the
Is it
feeling.
Face
So,
Off?
yeah,
Yeah, as a matter of fact. So Hazmat OG
I
is
have
one
not
that I
heard
actually
of
have a
that.
mother of. I want it. It's
What?
Face Off and oh, dude, the gears just aren't turning fast enough up back there.
Grinding over there,
Trying to
chugging.
read the words, but they're not. They're all squiggly. So, yeah, but I want to say Face Off is the male and Hazmat Chem maybe it's Chem and Face Off. Might be Chem and Face Off. I think that's what it is.
Well, who made
Anyway,
Face Off?
I have. What'd you say?
Who made Face Off?
I don't know, but that's archive. I think it's archive. I
Okay.
think archive. I think it was the doctors. Might not have made it, but he was using it in. a lot. I think I don't know if he used it in Dozy Dough. Might have used it in Dozy Dough.
That's what I want,
Don't
man.
quote me on that, man. Don't quote me on that, but something like that. Maybe Dozy Dough's in. I don't know. I don't know something. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, um, so hazmat is one that I've had a mom of and finally taken clones of.
Damn.
Look, dude. I mean, it cuts like just like a good solid OG, like a good. It has that gas. It has the structure.
Come on with
And
it.
when you smoke it, it's like, ooh, it's bedtime.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Even
So,
more
like,
so
could be a really
than
good
candy
painkiller.
grapes.
Could be a good painkiller for somebody.
Oh, I'd imagine. I'd imagine. So yeah,
Uh, you've piqued my
it's like
interest.
platinum frosty too. It's a beautiful plant. So I'm really, really geeked. I've actually never grown in production, so I don't even know how it's gonna grow. Um, uh, out in the hills, man, a different
Yeah, Trey
environment,
agrees.
different
He said that's
terroir.
archive. Terroir.
What did it say? Okay,
Trey,
your
he
face off.
agrees with you. It is archive. Yeah, Red is an archive fanboy, and after trying his hashes and flour, I can definitely see that he's made the right choice for him. I've never had a anything lacking out of his garden. I've always enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to a little bit of Rainbow Driver.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna run. Yeah, like I've collected a lot of his gear so far, but I haven't ran a lot of it aside. But just
Oh,
about
and the
everything that I've
DJ
ran,
Short.
I've had a
You,
keeper. I did a DJ short run like a couple years ago, and I did a DJ short like production run last year. That it was fun. It was good, man. I still have like
like the
some of the
Rosaberry?
F13s. Like I still have some Roseberry flower, F13 flower, and blueberry flower. All flowers that are great to like go and yeah, Scobo, totally,
Blueberry.
man. Yeah, I got a little sample
Blueberry.
pack of DJ Short sample pack. DJ Short, so the Roseberries, not DJ Short, the Roseberries, JD Short, which is second
Son.
generation genetics, his son. But I may have, I may have even some Grape Crush or some of those others that I was talking about, like the offensive vomit terp Grape Crush. Might have some of that. I don't know. Who knows what I have? I'm sure you. So since it's Scobo's birthday, I might as well give him a nice shout out. And let's say, what do I appreciate about Scobo? Well, I appreciate how you are like cannabis connoisseur. You're like this is a cannabis connoisseur. Like Scobo knows that I have a couple of different jars of fresh cannabis. I have Rainbow Driver. He knows that I have a couple of these other things. And Scobo goes, Red, bring me some of your the outdoor. I know you got some outdoor from last year. I'm gonna see. I haven't seen you since January. It's been a lot. I'm on
Yeah.
lockdown. I don't know when I'll see you again, but bring me some of last year's outdoor.
Yep.
All right, so I brought him some of last year's outdoor, and he dug it. And I mean, I'm. Are you still smoking on that? Did you smoke it?
Oh, that's
And
she's all
you dug
gone,
it?
Kevin. She's
All
gone.
gone. So you smoked it all. So
Yeah.
that's Scobo for you. And I appreciate that, man. You're you're genuine in that sense that you're not just about the next like biggest and best, like freshest, like best bag appeal. It's not about the bougie whatever. It's just give me some quality smoke, and you knew that was grown organically or regeneratively. It had seeds in it. You could probably utilize those.
Yeah.
Whatever. I
I
mean,
just like having different cannabis to be able to try, and then to be able to like, that dude. I think it's someone told me it was from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where dude's got the whiteboard with all the push pins and stuff. To me, I've got all of my little cannabis strains in my mind that I've tried before. So when someone says, oh, hey, I'm growing this or that or the other, it's good for me to be able to have smoked it and sampled it and been like, oh wow, this really like tastes like this, or I really dug the effect of this, or this one was really medicinal, or you know, a good one is like a lot of people like this one particular strain, and I just don't. And it's supposed to be great for this certain ailment, and for me, it's not. And I'm not going to name drop what it is or who the breeder because it's not important, but goes kind of back in on itself of what we were talking about earlier with Amadeus and how your endocannabinoid system works specific to yourself and how your system and the cannabis interact with each other. It has to do with the total package. So, and that brings us right up on the 1 o'clock point. I just want to say that it's really always a great time to come on here and just free form have a conversation. It's between me and Red and all of you, and it's just always fucking cool, man. So I'm happy with it. Thank you for making my birthday, Brad. Brad, what do you got?
Got to shout out Jack Greenstock for hooking us up with the not being able to figure out a pure pooping terp that we all have different biological systems, I guess. But the butanic acid or is the vomit smell. So that's good to know, Jack. I really appreciate your hard efforts, man, and helping us out. Scobo, happy birthday to you,
Thanks,
man.
bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And cheers, everybody who tunes in and chat, cannabis community. We love you all. Have a great night, everyone.